Now, I know that there are a few fat idiots, or I like to call them souls idiots, are so like, wow, it's coming in 3D. Really? Are you really that excited? I think it's another word for it. I think devastated, gutted, horrified that your beloved films, except the last ones, are going to be stabbed in the back and put into 3D. I'm sorry. George, if you are watching this, which probably, if you're a big billionaire, you're probably not. But if anyone's collected Star Wars and you're watching this, stop it. Stop it. We have had enough. When the first film came out, but enough about criticism for people. My verdict. I think it's one of the best films I've seen in this year. Yes, I know it's a documentary, and yes, you will probably be saying, how can you say that? I mean, that's just a dull documentary. You said Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy was brilliant, and you're saying that's very good. So tell me, why do you prefer that to that? Well, I'll say that's a great film, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. But so is this. And the thing about what makes this documentary so great is even, I mean, I'm a Formula 1 person, but I showed it to my parents downstairs to see their view on the film. And even people who don't like Formula 1 love the film. It's an incredible feeling. I mean, I've never seen... or in U2's terms, over egotistical, they think, you know what, let's put ourselves on the big screen. Now, as I'm sure people know, is that U2 have did that before back in 1989 with Rattle and Hum, which was a terrible film, which showed egotistical people who laughed at everything at all. The concerts were quite poor, and despite the fact that the Joshua Tree, which is a pretty good album, even on a YouTube fan, that's someone you've seen, would say that's a pretty good album. But the film was terrible. I've never seen a film that bad before. And then I got me thinking about other music films. I mean, sorry to look down. Obviously, Rolling Stones recently did Shine. What you call great cartoon, you know, like Simpsons or anything like that, but you know, it's Tintin, and for the buts about it, the credit is it's a fantastic concept. About making it into a movie, or in other words, the CGI movie, it's quite strange really, because I wouldn't mind it to be a live action film, but you know, if that's how it is. Alright, let's have the pluses about the film. Obviously, Spielberg's directing the CGI cartoon, which, as we've known with the Indiana Jones films, not the last one, but the first three ones, and the fact that he did Jurassic Park and Jaws and many more, he's got a pretty good track record. With the help is Peter Jackson, obviously, who's done all the doings and that lot. acting wise, it's this film. I mean, now the game is I think this is, for my opinion, the best film I've seen so far in 2011. I think its characters are done really well. I think it's a proper movie, not like a movie that's like past Oscar-winning films. I'm not dissing King's Speech. King's Speech is a great film, but there are some other films that won the Oscar that haven't looked like an Oscar-winning film, but I think this film is a proper movie. I think Gary Oldman, hand on heart, has done a fantastic performance as the dull but dim-witted, but also professional spy whose heart has been damaged. It's this film. I mean, now the game is who was nominated for a Turner Prize in 1996 for Disappearance at Sea. It's basically to show the pictures, show the picture of the camcorder that's used, which is a old-fashioned film which goes 24 frames per second. I think it's a really fascinating piece of work. It captures the audience pretty well. I mean, I'm going to take more than a couple of minutes for like half an hour or so, and already, I mean, there's a lot of people that are caught up by this. Do I think that this type of filming will be back in cinemas? I wish it was the case, but sadly this will not happen. The problem with a film like this is the fact that you think about the fact that the times we live in. I'm saying, well, is it 3D? No, it's not. It's digital, sadly. And as much as I hate it, it is the future, unfortunately. It's this film. I mean, now the game is particularly The Lion King. When The Lion King originally came out, it was, in my opinion, one of the best films Disney have ever made. Personally, there were some better films like Pinocchio and that lot, but it was a bloody epic film. It had the best soundtrack, one of the best soundtracks ever, by Elton John. Now come on, tell me you don't like the soundtrack. If you don't like the soundtrack, you really don't know anything about music, because that's a bloody good soundtrack. And the film itself is just incredible. But now they're thinking, you know what, let's put a bit of 3D into it. I'm sorry, no, sorry, that is it. That's the last straw. You've broken the straw off. Alright? That is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen someone do. That's when Casablanca was colorized. It was terrible when it's this film. I mean, now the game is when you play a game sometimes, it just feels like a story, like a movie, more than a video game. And The Interest of Prince of Persia, that was quite a good film. But I've got to say, a lot of it doesn't work. I've got to say, I mean, I'm not a video game man at all. I mean, I've said in my time that I think most video games are just, you know, stupid personally, and there isn't any point in playing a video game. I mean, you can play a video game at home if you want to, but I just find it it's a bit stupid, really. And I just think, what's the point in paying that much money for a game where you can, I don't know, go outside or no, socialise and that a lot. But no, I'm not having a war against you, video gamers. You know. It's this film. I mean, now the game is
If it's anywhere, if it comes to London with it, I would love to go and see it. Again, also. Then there's the other thing. But then there's my other big peep, which somehow gets me in the nerve a bit sometimes. I mean, in 2006, there was an experimental film which went to cinema called 21st Century Portrait Zidane. No, Zidane 21st Century Portrait. What happened was, every camcorder and every camera that you made, we went around and just focused on Zidane. And of course, if you are a football wizard or you're not, to let you know, Zinedine Zidane was one of the all-time great footballers. I mean, the way he played and moved, it was like poetry. It's like poetry was being made. But I'm not talking about and as you may know, I've talked about hamburgers a lot, and the one I looked at first was a hamburger one, and I was watching it, and then I was thinking, hang on, is he taking the piss? But at the end of it, I found out he did take the piss. The fact is, this film that he did was just to take the piss out of a few artists that he's basically saying that they think anything can be art, where the truth is that nothing can be art. I'm sorry, but I mean, what he says is well, this is a hamburger. This can be art. A hamburger can be art. That's basically, I think it's true. I mean, I went to the Tate Modern in Liverpool, and there was cigarettes in a box. Now, I don't know how the fuck that can be art. No, it's I mean, now the game is